Martin Luther King on steroids.
I thought to myself, Martin Luther King is great. What would make him better? I know, steroids.
If you look at Martin Luther King when he did his speech, his great speech.
No, he is not about to compare crowd sizes with Martin Luther King. All right, let's take a look at what's going on with the governor of North Carolina.
My colleague Em and I found a series of highly disturbing posts more than a decade ago on the message board of a pornographic website.
What made you think to look? Of all the places to look for a story about the moral hypocrisy of the GOP candidate for governor in North Carolina, a comment section for a porn site is not the kind of place. I actually wasn't aware they had comment sections. There's comment sections? That's news to me. People leave comments?
And we traced them directly to
nice boobs.
Robinson. Now, we did interview Robinson yesterday, and he categorically denies making these posts. I'll get to that in just one moment. But first, I want to walk people through just some of them. Take a look at this post right here. In one post, Robinson called himself a, quote, black Nazi. And when discussing then President Barack Obama in 2012.
Also, mini soldier. Who chooses the name mini soldier on a porn site? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what is this guy saying about? Is he a mini soldier? What is he saying about himself?
Writing, quote, I'd take Hitler over any of the shit that's in Washington right now.
Yikes.
Even goes beyond that. Another disturbing post, Robinson defended slavery, writing, quote, slavery is not that bad, and I wish they would bring back slavery. I would certainly buy a few. He also disparaged, as you mentioned, civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., using a slur to refer to him and calling him a, quote, commie bastard. All those comments and others you can read on CNN.com.
So, I mean, like, some of this stuff, you know, like hating on Martin Luther King, the slurs, it's if you followed a little bit of Mark Robinson, it's not that surprising.
Were made on the message board of a porn website called Nude Africa. And Wolf, in addition to those posts, he also expressed views on Nude Africa that sharply contradicts his current policies as a socially conservative candidate for governor. He has been vocally anti-transgender, but look at what Robinson wrote.
Okay, nope. Get out. Can you freaking redact shit? I love that YouTube spoils these fuckers into thinking that a slur is not a slur. But a slur, in fact, is a slur, and some of us don't want to see it.
Don't F a drunk white bitch.
We can't show you the F word. We can't show you the B word. But we can show you the T slur. That is what motherfuckers are saying.
So he wrote all this years ago, as you know, Andrew, when he was an ordinary citizen before he even got into politics.
Spicy take, this man was never ordinary.
How do we know it's him?
Well, Wolf, we found that Robinson consistently used the same username, Mini Soldier, that he used on Nude Africa in all of his social media. You can see it on Pinterest, Black Planet, YouTube. He even previously used it as his Twitter handle. Now, his full name...
So apparently, he's just on main as Mini Soldier, but then, yeah, YouTube, Discus. Oh my god, chat, I don't even know what Discus is. Oh, is that an anti-trans post that he's... Pinterest. Bro is on Pinterest.
Was even...
Now I'm more interested in what he's got on Pinterest, actually. Freak on porn sites, yeah.
Also listed on Nude Africa, and the email that we found that he used there, he also used on several other websites. The biographical data from multiple websites using Mini Soldier, including Nude Africa, matches Robinson's. There's an exact date of birth. There's his hometown. There's the fact his mother worked at an HBCU. Even that his favorite episode of The Twilight Zone is number 22.
Not super big on OPSEC, are we?
So, Andrew, what does Robinson say about all of this?
Robinson is calling the story trash. He says it's not him. Now, we did ask the campaign for comment. We gave them 48 hours to respond. That deadline was yesterday. And that's when Lieutenant Governor Robinson agreed to do a brief interview with us. Here is just a little bit of that. Lieutenant Governor Robinson, thank you so much for being willing to talk to us. I think we'll just jump right into it. Do you deny that this account is you?
Well, first off, let me say thank you so much for allowing me to come here and clear the air. We absolutely do. This is not us. These are not our words, and this is not anything that is characteristic of me, nor has it ever been.
Okay, so here's my guess so far, right? He's using his same name on every single website, so they must have just Google searched the name. They see him making some spicy posts on Pinterest, I guess, and they're like, huh, I wonder what else this guy's got. And sure enough, an NSFW site comes up, and rather than it just being, I don't know, like he had a list of favorite porn stars, it is comments. It is a message history. He's discoursing on an NSFW site.
North Carolina, no. I have been completely transparent about my history.
Oh, you're transparent, all right. I see right through you.
We put them all out. We let folks.
You definitely put all the warts out. Wait, is he saying something about his mini soldier with the warts? Has the mini soldier got warts?
But the folks.
You know what his mini soldier is, right? You know what that must refer to. Like, that's gotta be his pet name for little Mark Robinson, the mini soldier.
Folks here also know my character. They know who I am.
People know, yeah, a lot about your character. Yeah, you've really let your freak flag fly.
Know my voice, so to speak. This is not my voice. This is not things that we would ever say or even think.
Okay, now, do you hear that? This is not.
How do you explain all of the match?
This is not things that we would ever say. He's talking about his campaign. We're not talking about your campaign, bro. We're talking about Mini Soldier. We're talking about your ad. And yes, your ad did apparently say those things.
Details on this profile. The profile.
Now, somebody come up with a steel man for this guy. Somebody come up with an alternate explanation, no matter how wild, where it's like, he didn't do this. What would it be? Somebody noticed him with the mini soldier, and was like, haha, let's make a fake Mark Robinson on this one random. And the other thing about it is, it's like, this guy loves porn. This guy lives for porn, right? The other story that we're going to hear about him is that he frequented an adult bookstore. If you're not familiar, this is where people used to watch NSFW materials prior to the internet existing. Some of these places, including the one that he went to, have little back rooms that are private and that somebody goes into with a video, with an NSFW video, comes out minutes, hours, days later. I don't know how long they stay in there. And then the employee of the adult bookshop comes in with a mop, a bucket and a mop, because they're going to need that bucket and a mop to clean up the mess left in the room, right? And of course, when I say the mess left in the room, I'm talking about his Papa John's pizzas, which he would constantly bring with him, say, would anyone like a slice of pizza? And then go get his tape and go watch it with the rest of the pizza. He's like eating pizza with one hand, I'm imagining, and he's handling the mini soldier with the other hand.
On Nude Africa lists your full name as Mark Robinson. The email listed on the account is an email that you have used elsewhere on the internet, including with your photo. You have used that name, Mini Soldier, on multiple social media accounts, including Twitter, Pinterest, Black Planet, and YouTube. How can you deny, with all of these matching details, that this is you?
Looking like Vosh on a typical stream. Yeah, except for if Vosh would be like horse soldier or something.
Look, I'm not going to get into the minutia of how somebody manufactured these salacious tabloid lies, but I can tell you this: there's been over $1 million.
Can you imagine? He's good at lying. Okay, I'll give him that, right? I feel like most people would have quit their campaign. In fact, he had a chance, right? This happened right before the deadline for withdrawing from the race. Now, is it good to withdraw from the race this late? No, probably not. But given how far down he was, and given that this was coming out, it seems like the obvious thing to do: withdraw from the race, hide your head in shame, hope that people forget about you. No, he's going to go on CNN and be like, I can't believe these salacious lies that somebody said. I can't believe this mini soldier person that's, it's unbelievable. The gall of this man.
spent on me through AI
Biden is pony soldier?
by a billionaire son who's bound and determined to destroy me. The things that people can do,
Wait, a billionaire son that's bound and determined to destroy you?
avoid lies. But I can tell you this, there's been over $1 million spent on me through AI.
Oh, okay. Through AI? Is there AI? Chat, what is the AI? What is the AI go? Is there AI of this guy? Is somebody actually going after him with AI? That sounds wonderful.
A billionaire son who's bound and determined to destroy me. The things that people can do with the internet now is incredible. But
When he's talking about the billionaire son, does he mean his opponent? Is that the billionaire son? That's like a line from Creedence Clearwater, isn't it?
what I can tell you is this. Again, these are not my words. This is simply tabloid trash being used as a distraction from the substantive issues that the people of this state are facing. We have addressed it. We have said it's not true. And we wish we could move on and get busy with the business of the people of the state.
Oh, you're getting busy, all right. You're mini soldier.
Okay, well, these posts, they do take place over a 5-year period from 2008 to 2013. You mentioned AI. Are you saying that somebody was somehow manufacturing biographical details to exactly match you using your username?
Look, I have no idea how this was done. I have absolutely no idea how it was done. And I have 5 weeks left in this campaign to focus on the substantive issues that North Carolinians face. I do not have time for tabloid trash.
There have been rumors that some of your campaign staff have quit. Can you tell us if that's true or not?
Absolutely not, and we are not getting out of this race. There are people who are counting on us to win this race because, again, we don't want a governor who's going to be a person that can't be counted on to tell the truth. And I can assure you, my opponent has been taken to court for not telling the truth in campaigns. And he's been completely dishonest in his ads against me. His camp is so desperate to destroy us. It's just like Clarence Thomas said years ago. This is a high-tech lynching.
Clarence Thomas, from all available details, was also guilty.
And, back long years ago, they used to use rope. Now they're using cable.
See, now, Clarence Thomas using that phraseology, maybe some people could say that was a little distasteful. Well, he just took it there. Like, this is like the person that lies, but then they're also like, but on my mom's grave, though. On my mom's grave. Right? They just take it. It's like, we know you're lying, but now we know that you don't care about your dead mom or whatever. Like, why is he taking it there? Why does he gotta invoke?
And Lieutenant Governor Robinson released a video shortly after our interview.
I think, chat, the only thing that I can imagine is that part of him likes getting caught. Part of him, that's part of it for him, right? Like, his disposition is not that of a sweaty, nervous, guilty person. It's not that of a calm but firm, innocent person. It's that of a person that enjoys the fact that these sordid details have been revealed about him. And he's probably going to take a trip to the adult bookstore after this interview. He's probably going straight there. Papa John's first, going to pick up a pizza, then he's going to go to the adult bookstore. That's what he's going to enjoy himself. This is not a bad day for him. I think he likes having this revealed on a statewide, if not national political stage.
Reiterating that he plans to stay in the race. Wolf?
Andrew, also tell me a little bit more about those comments that Robinson made about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah, I mentioned those a little bit earlier, Wolf. He used a slur, as I mentioned, for MLK, Martin Luther King Jr. He called him Martin Lucifer and then used a slur that I can't say on air. He also called him a, quote, commie bastard, and that was back when they were putting his memorial in Washington, D.C. on the National Mall.
Andrew, thanks for your excellent reporting. Thank your team as well. I want to bring in right now the civil rights advocate, Martin Luther.
Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not shaming him for having this, interest, right? His kinks are the least, offensive things about him, but I am just kind of amazed by it. I've just never seen anything like this before.
The third, the son of the civil rights icon. He's joining us from Atlanta. Martin, thank you so much for joining us. First of all, what's your reaction to Mark Robinson's clearly racist comments about your father?
CNN gets this story, and the first thing they think of is like, can we find a living relative of Martin Luther King Jr. to bring on? You know what would make this story really pop? If we had a relative of MLK.
Well, it is certainly very tragic that instead of elevating what civil rights leaders did, and people in North Carolina who are on the front lines of the modern civil rights movement, particularly in Greensboro, where the sit-in movement occurred. And by the way, on this day, Wolf, 66 years ago, my father was stabbed.
Shakespeare says that changes the meaning of the phrase hitting the books. Yeah, it does.
Harlem, while signing his book by a black woman, from a black woman by the name of Isola Curry. My point for making that is after Dad was stabbed, the next day he was able to share with the media, and he talked about the dangerous rhetoric that is being propagated in the nation. 66 years later, that rhetoric is being propagated, or at least it's been alleged that it's being propagated by a person who's running for the governor of the state of North Carolina. And it's a very, very sad scenario. As I said, I feel that people should be lifting up the contributions that have been made by North Carolinians to move things forward in our nation around civil and human rights so that all people are treated with dignity and respect.
Yeah, that's so important. Former President Trump, as you probably know, has had some high praise for Robinson in the past. Let me play this one clip. Listen to this.
This is Martin Luther King on steroids.
I forgot about this angle. Martin Luther King on steroids makes me think of the Brianna Wu picture. Speaking of that, we got some Brianna Wu tent too, right? I don't know when I'll bring that out, right? But that's coming up in the next few days, right? But yeah, Brianna Wu drew a picture of a cyborg of Martin Luther King, who was quite buff. Do you think Trump is a Brianna Wu fan? Like, where did he get the idea? You know, he's like Martin Luther King on steroids. This is the guy that compared his crowd size in January 6th to Martin Luther King by saying that he clearly had more people there than Martin Luther King, than MLK at the I Have a Dream speech, right? This is...
You're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King times 2. One of the great stars.
See, he didn't realize this was going to be an insult to the man. This man doesn't like Martin Luther King.
Stars of the party, one of the great stars in politics, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson.
So what's your response to that?
Well, first of all, again, I don't even know exactly what that means, but it does not mean anything positive. The fact that...
Look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. All right? I don't know what he means. And I don't think he knows what he means either. Trump is Bidened.
You know, I don't ever like to say that somebody is crazy or demented, but that was the first thing. This person is way off the rocker, that you would admire someone who is such an evil force and figure and did so much harm in relationship to killing Jewish people and other things. So that you empathize with this person, there's got to be something wrong with you. And it also says that there should be concerns about North Carolinians who have allowed this person to emerge as one who's providing leadership. He is a lieutenant.
Well, yeah, and a huge concern about Donald Trump for having supported this guy so much.
Governor. So at the end of the day, we still have a lot of work to do to stamp out hatred, hostility, to stamp out this kind of behavior.
I think one of the hottest politicians in the United States of America, and is
oh no,
Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. Thank you, Mark. This is Martin Luther King on steroids. Okay, now, I told that to Mark. I said, I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King times 2. I said to this man...
And I thought to myself, Martin Luther King is great. What would make him better? I know, steroids. Steroids. He should have had steroids.
He endorsed me. He gave a speech, and I said, You are Dr. Martin Luther King on steroids. That's how good you are. You are unbelievable.
But again, it's an insult coming from Trump, who, you know, dunked on Martin Luther King for his crowd size.
If you look at Martin Luther King when he did his speech, his great speech.
No, he is not about to compare crowd sizes with Martin Luther King. First of all, that was like the 60s, right? There were less people in the country then. But second of all, I don't think he's right on the substance. I don't think he actually had a bigger crowd size. But third of all, why the fuck are you trying to flex on MLK?
And you look at ours, same real estate, same number of people, if not, we had more. And they said he had 1 million people, but I had 25,000 people.
He dunked on MLK's crowd size in the I Have a Dream speech. He said that January 6th was better. January 6th was bigger.
As a speaker, and he got up and he's doing fantastically well in North Carolina, and I think he's going to be the next governor of North Carolina.
Didn't age well.
As we speak, Democrats are mustering their messaging might to make a connection in voters' minds.
Democrats are mustering the weird champs, yes.
To link Donald Trump and Mark Robinson, his choice for North Carolina governor.
I think they must have just hit it off really well. It must be like that. Oh my God. And the thing, what does he think to say? I gotta give this guy a big, like a big compliment. What am I going to say? Martin Luther King on steroids.
Now, we won't belabor the specifics of the salacious accusations surrounding Robinson this afternoon, other than to say a CNN report detailed a number of racist and sexually explicit messages posted on a porn site years before he entered politics. One post attributed to Robinson from 2010 is a declaration, quote, "I'm a black Nazi." Another post, quote, "Slavery is not bad." And then there's the story attributed to Robinson, in which he recounts peeping on naked women when he was a teenager. We should note here, NBC News has not yet...
Okay, so now that one, like, you know, he's a teenager. I don't know, it's like maybe less egregious than some of the other stuff that he said. But why would you say this?
The authenticity of these messages. CNN's reporting suggests the username traces back to other similar ones across a number of social media platforms, and certain posts contain details that matched up with Robinson's personal life. And for his part, Robinson and his team, they are denying any of these posts came from him and that he never created or used such an account. Here's Robinson's response.
Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson. You know my words. You know.
You got a third person yourself in order to get out of this?
You know my character, and you know that
We do, though. We do. That's why it makes sense. That's why it's like I'm questioning it less than I would for like anybody else.
Transparent in this race and before.
Like, I could imagine somebody making a fake account on some disrepute or, you know, some site, I don't really know that much about the site. I mean, given what they let him post, I would say that the terms of service are not that high.
Clarence Thomas famously once said he was the victim of a high-tech lynching. Well, it looks like Mark Robinson is too, by a man who...
What is with the third personing?
Refuses to stand on stage and debate me about the real.
So he is definitely talking about his opponent, right? That's who he's accusing of being the billionaire son that
issues that face you.
Is using AI on him, apparently.
Instead, they want to focus on salacious tabloid lies. We're not going to let them do that. We are staying in this race. We are in it to win it.
We do know his words, and we will get to that in just a second. But a spokesperson for North Carolina's Board of Elections confirmed to NBC News this afternoon the deadline for Robinson to submit a written request to withdraw from this race has now passed. The Lieutenant Governor submitted no such paperwork, so this race, as it stands, is on. The North Carolina Republican Party, they are standing by Robinson. The Trump campaign, they are too, at least to some degree.
If this was a different state, okay, I could imagine there being a very red state where what he said, the racist part of it, would actually maybe get him more votes. North Carolina is not that state. North Carolina, despite being in the South, even the deep South, is sort of, you know, mixed in terms of ideology, right? It's got a lot of, you know, It's got a lot of Trump supporters, but it's also got a lot of college-educated people. It's got a big, you know, the Research Triangle is a pretty left-wing area. It's got some big cities, so it's kind of like North Carolina. That's why North Carolina is a swing state, right? No, this is not going to help him. This is not going to help him. This is good. This is, oh my God. I say that as like, I should knock on wood. I don't think that this guy could win in North Carolina unless he brings literally every racist out of their fucking tool shed to vote for him.
Suggesting North Carolina is a vital part of the campaign without ever mentioning Robinson's name. But as we mentioned, Democrats are trying to make that connection in voters' minds. Fewer than 24 hours after the story broke, the DNC announcing plans to launch an ad blitz nearly a dozen billboards across North Carolina. And the Harris-Walz campaign released a brand new video of their own just this afternoon. Take a look.
And he's been an unbelievable Lieutenant Governor, Mark.
So check this out. Check this out. The results of this are that it's not just that his campaign is sunk, right? It's not just that there's no way to replace him on the ballot, right? North Carolina losing the governorship is probably not great for the Republicans, right? They were losing it anyway, though. But now you're going to drag Trump down in a state where he's already having trouble.
Robinson.
For me, there is no compromise on abortion.
I think you're better than Martin Luther King.
We could pass a bill saying you can't have an abortion in North Carolina for any reason.
Abortion in this country, it's about killing a child because you aren't responsible enough to keep your skirt down.
Damn.
I've been with him a lot. I've gotten to know him, and he's outstanding.
Donald Trump and Mark Robinson. They're both wrong.
That's a North Carolina ad right there.
North Carolina.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve.
See, now normally, right, this wouldn't be a swing state, right? People have said in chat that it's purple. You know, I think Obama won it in 2012, but in general, it doesn't go. It doesn't usually go blue. This is the exact set of. This is the perfect storm for that to happen. And yeah, everybody who's analyzing the race is looking at North Carolina now as being a blue state. It is really up for grabs.
This message.
Worth underscoring. That ad we all just watched highlighted comments made by Robinson in public. Remember, Robinson's name will be right there with Donald Trump's on the ballot in North Carolina this election day. And given just how essential that state is for both campaigns, any change to the status quo could tip the scales in that state and, by extension, the race for president. And that is where we start this hour with NBC News correspondent Antonia Hilton for us in Raleigh, North Carolina. Antonia, the Robinson campaign, the Trump campaign, they seem to think they can just hold on tight, let this all pass. Can they?
Well, that's the central question right now. And as you mentioned a moment ago, the Robinson campaign, because they missed that 11:59 deadline, in a way, you know, that's their statement. They're in this. There is no change to be made at this point. We saw the North Carolina GOP release a statement saying that they're essentially standing by their man. The Trump campaign, though, is a whole different ballgame because they're trying to walk this tightrope right now. We just got new NBC News reporting. Our colleague Joshua Burns has been talking to people all afternoon. And what they've found is that there are allies, both here locally in the North Carolina delegation and in the Trump campaign, who are pushing that campaign to actually rescind the endorsement and rethink that relationship here. However, at least at this point, Trump has not wanted
Look, Bovine says, don't pull up my YouTube comments. What do you think I am, Hassan?
to do so. He certainly hasn't taken that step yet, but he is going to be here campaigning tomorrow. And what we do know is Robinson is not going to be on that stage. So there's this sort of effort to not really comment on the contents of what has been said, but so still maintain some of that relationship, but try to avoid allowing Robinson and this scandal to potentially drag down the entire Republican ticket. That is certainly what Democrats are hoping is about to happen, and it is what Republicans are going to try to avoid, Alicia.
I want to see that guy start to really simp hard for Donald Trump. I want him to talk about his good friend Donald Trump. He has so much faith that I want this guy to become a problem for Trump, right? I want Trump to go to North Carolina to try to do his campaign rally, and this guy just shows up unannounced, gets on stage, and pats Trump on the back. I want this guy to be Trump's albatross. And yes, Chad, I did say albatross.
That is a delicate two-step for even the most seasoned dancer, so we will see just how that goes. You know, Antonia, it strikes me that there was a press conference earlier this afternoon. North Carolina's current governor, Roy Cooper, he's a Democrat. He made the case that a lot of Robinson's most radical comments, they were made right out in public, just fill in some of that background for us.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you talk to some of the voters and political operatives here, I mean, I was here in 2022 covering the midterms. People talked about Mark Robinson back then, too. There is a long history of comments here. I mean, one of the ones that I've heard from voters that's come up time and time again is a time in which he referenced the Holocaust and seemed to suggest that it was hogwash, that he was casting doubt on some facts, some realities of the violence of how Jewish people were.
I didn't even think that, but I should have mentioned that while we were watching Donald Trump. Like, call student protesters Holocaust deniers, right? I should have brought that up.
Treated by Nazis. And, you know, for those voters who I spoke to today, that therefore makes it not so hard for them to leap to the conclusion that perhaps he would have commented.
I feel like no tax on tips means something entirely different to Mark Robinson and his mini soldier.
Something similar on online forums, as CNN has reported. Then I've spoken to some Republican voters, though, who say that these are all allegations, you know, that they don't really know what.
You gotta love Republican voters, right? I've been dealing with these fuckers in my comments all morning on my latest video, right? Coping that actually Trump won the debate. RFK Jr. can admit that Trump lost the debate. These people are further gone than RFK Jr.
True, what is not true, and so they plan still to vote for him. What's interesting about this state, though, it has one of the highest numbers of
Simon Pierre says, no tax if it's just the tip.
Independent voters and moderates, people who do split ticket voting or who change their party cycle after cycle. And so Robinson really has the potential to turn those people off. They are the kind of voters who are consistently trying to get the rhetoric turned down in this country. They don't like comments like that. They certainly aren't comfortable with some of the
Yeah, that's right. Tim Fisher says he meant to fall into every trap that Kamala set.
Semitic and Islamophobic things that he's both said on the record or online in the past, or possibly in.
Now that's another kind of double hater, right?
These social media posts found by CNN. And so those are the voters that may be turned off here, and that the Harris campaign is going to aggressively go after here as they try to chart their path to victory in a state that, you know, over the last 11 cycles, I think, has only gone for a Democrat once.
Antonia Hilton, live for us in Raleigh, North Carolina. Antonia, thank you for your reporting. Let's bring into our conversation former RNC spokesman.
Oh my God, we got the Bulwark guy. Chat, want to chat if you know about the Bulwark. Anybody heard of this before? The channel called the Bulwark?
And host of the Bulwark podcast, Tim Miller, plus distinguished political scholar and professor at Princeton University, Eddie Glaude, and here at the table, Democratic strategist and professor at Columbia University, Basil Smythe. You know, Tim, when this is all over, this is all over, we're going to do a supercut of me saying to you, like, well, have we found
Tim,
the bottom? Is this the new low? Is this it? And you just say, like, I don't know where the bottom is anymore, that they saw everything he said in public. They didn't walk away from him. There's now this reporting.
So I don't know why I'm getting this strange thought about Antonia Hilton here, but I feel like she's like this kind of person that she's like, if she would be like a good party host. Like she would be like, she'd invite you to the party. Like she'd be like super, a little too intense maybe even. She would be like, I'm going to introduce you to everybody here. I'm going to bring you all around and get you like, right. She's got to be like the best party host, right? There's something real intense about her. It almost makes me a little bit uncomfortable, right? She's so like attentive to her guests at the party.
He's still their guy.
Yeah, it's hard to get lower than sticking with your man when he says he's pro-slavery on a porn message board. But like that is where we are. And this, I think, we can talk about this race and Mark Robinson specifically in a second. But I do think that this is just such a damning example of just the rot of the Republican Party and what the Republican voters are looking for. I mean, if you set up a system.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't say Bulworth. I said Bulwark, right? BLLWARK. The Bulwark. It's I think it's like never Trumpers. I think they're like Republicans that hate Trump, if I'm not mistaken. 100% she seems ultra friendly and overbearing. Yeah, but in a sweet way. I could never hate her. I could never be mad at her, right? She would freak me out. If you're the person at the party that ate mushrooms before the party started, right? She's going to take care of you. Do you need some orange juice? I heard that orange juice really helps. Oh my God.
you're saying, I want
Would you like to play with some kinetic sands?
you to apply for a job.
Honey, get off the kinetic sands.
I want you to apply to be the Republican nominee for governor or Senate or president.
Like, you could be puking in her toilet and she would be holding your hair, right? She would be taking, you know what I mean? She would be so nice. She'd be like, oh, no, that's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll clean it up.
And what we're looking for on your resume is how willing are you to suck up
Random Girl 3PO is talking about damn Tay over there. Damn.
to a con man and a liar and Donald Trump? How shameful will you be in sucking up to this person? And the second thing we're looking for is how mean and cruel will you be to liberals and marginalized people? And that's all we're looking for. We're just looking for people that will suck up to a con man and will be mean to liberals. Well,
I mean, that's true. That's true. That's their formula, and that's getting them in trouble. Because there's some people that fit that description that you very much don't want to be associated with. In fact, there's a lot of people in their party. Laura Loomer, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, right? All these people fit that. Matt Gaetz, for fuck's sake. Matt Gaetz had another scandal.
People that are going to submit their resume are Mark Robinson and Herschel Walker and Carrie Lake and Doug Mastriano. You're going to get associated.
Wait. Blake Masters, yeah.
That apply. Like, if you're no longer looking for people that, you know, ran a business or served in the military or served their community, you know, like the types of things we used to look for in public service.
There ain't no party like a bulwark party, right? You go to a bulwark party with the Never Trumpers, they just like
Democrats still look for in their public servants. If you're not looking for those attributes, if you're looking for who can suck up to Trump and who can be mean to Democrats, you're going to get people like Mark Robinson, who apparently spent like most of his adult life either on a message board on a porn site, posting racist and gross stuff.
Chat sounds like they're about ready to flip me a Jeffrey.
Or inside a porn store.
Are we going to stroke the furry wall, chat?
Eating a pizza in the back room, where apparently he was 5 nights a week at times. And it's hard to know how.
5 nights at Mark's. Sorry. Are there animatronics that come and clean the floor? No! Can you imagine that? No, that's horrible, chat. No.
How this guy found time to go to.
Why did you have to say 5 nights? Now it's got that in my head, and I really don't need to mix those universes. I really don't want to mix those universes.
Like the bank or do anything. Maybe he didn't, because he also went bankrupt several times. So like, and this is the type of person you wouldn't hire to run like a fast food restaurant. The idea that he would be governor of one of the biggest states in the country is insane. The idea that he'd have voters that want him to be governor is just preposterous. But like, we got here because like we're at the 9-year mark of this Trump era where what the voters have incentivized are all these wrong.
That's why the animatronics got pissed in the first place.